Hello. Okay. Okay. So it's been crazy up in here, okay? Um, but this video is very important to me, and so I've been trying to figure out a better way to make videos. And obviously, the best way is on the phone. A phone's wireless isn't working, and so it complicates things. My poor little cell phone cracked up here, scratched. His wireless receiver broke like a year ago, so he uses a ridiculous amount of data. It's just crazy. So I'm working on a phone situation. I don't get to upgrade until May, which really sucks. Because ideally, I would like to upgrade, get a new phone, and be able to make videos all day and just upload them at the end, like I was doing for like 3 weeks before my phone broke. I finally got back into the groove almost a year ago, and it was with my phone, and then bam. So I am working on that. Um, because there was a lot of stuff going on, and I've been wanting to talk to you guys about it, but I wasn't able to. My birthday was a week ago, last Saturday, and my wife prearranged a race for me. It was called Race to the Lake, and it's on my birthday. It was awesome. It was 10K. Now, you guys, if you follow this, me running, then you know that every year I do what's called the Crescent City Classic, and it's a 10K that takes you from the French Quarter area in New Orleans to City Park. The 10K is 6.2 miles, in case anybody doesn't know that. So 6.2 miles runs you through the city. I did it with a friend the first year. My next year, I was just like, I just want to beat my time, and I slaughtered my time. And then the next year, I was like, I want to be in, I want to finish in under an hour. And that was that was 2013 I think it was in March this year. It's always the Saturday before Easter. So I did it. Now, running the Crescent City Classic, there are several factors you have to factor in. And one is the condition of the streets in New Orleans. I have never been anywhere where the streets are as bad as New Orleans. If you think about your town and you think about the worst streets, the most potholes, the most broken cement, the most uneven, I mean, I'm talking about like uneven streets that you have, the city's probably fixing it. That is consistently front to back what New Orleans is like. There is no stretch in the city of smooth street. Even when they smooth out like one side of the street, this side's all crunkety, and when they fix this side, that one's already crunkety. And I think it has to do with the sinking and the water levels in the ground, like everything's just mush. So and I think it also has to do with shoddy workmanship and ill use of funds, to be honest. But I don't know. I've never made a street or had to maintain it, so maybe that just would happen no matter what. I do know that here in my area, which is not in the city of New Orleans, I'm right outside, we have good streets. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on that, and that is that we do have good streets, but they break. The land sinks. The more water, if you have a really rainy season and so like the ground is just swampy, your streets will sink. But our parish fixes them a little more consistently than New Orleans. So just putting it out there. So the streets are extremely uneven. You have to be very careful. And if you've ever trained like in grass, you know that there's you have to be careful about how your feet land. You know, you don't want to hurt your ankle or your knee or twerk something when you're on uneven ground. Well, that is even kind of amplified on the streets because you might step on like a piece of blacktop that might roll, or you might it's just very something you have to be aware of so that you don't hurt yourself. Now, and then, that's the first thing, the street quality. The second thing about the Crescent City Classic is somewhere between 27 and 30,000 people run/walk. So there's 27 to 30,000 people packed into a 6-mile race. You are very shoulder to shoulder with people, and while it does start to stretch out, if you are slower, it'll kind of like, you'll have a little more room. If you are, like, once you get to like a 10-minute mile or faster, you're in a crowd of people, kind of a lot. So what I found out this last race in the 2013 Crescent City, I was just so focused on being under an hour, and I think I finished in like an hour and like 40 seconds. And I was totally, it wasn't even a full minute. I was totally bummed. And I was frustrated. And I was frustrated because I know that I spent more than 3 or 4 minutes stuck behind people, stuck in groups, trying to get around, trying to like get to where I could run again, having to like walk angrily behind people until like they kind of sorted themselves out and I was able to get in between people. And that was a very frustrating thing, to know that like physically I could have beaten the record and then I couldn't because of the situation. And then also, when you do kind of get a little stretch of running area, you have to be very careful. You can't just full out run because of the ground. So I was really aggravated. I was happy because I was like, well, I did my best and I did well, but I was aggravated and I wasn't really sure what direction I was going to go in. And then I kind of stopped running. Like, I mean, I was running still, but not the same way. And I talked to you guys about that in one of the last videos about new shoes and just a whole world of stuff. So I kind of thought that I had fallen out of love with running. Then my wife was like, you need to do this race. And I was like, I'm not doing races. I don't care. Like, I don't care, you know? And she was like, no, you have to do this race. And I was like, I can't tell you I'm excited. And later on, I didn't realize it was on my birthday. There was a lot of stuff I didn't realize about it. But so she insisted and she arranged that for me. Hold on. I apologize. I write my church's prayer request emails, and that was the pastor requesting some information. So, back to the race. Alright, so my wife had been telling me about this race, and I was all like, oh, I don't know. Come to find out it's on my birthday. I'm like, hey, did you know there was a race in the area on my birthday? And she was all like, I tried to tell you that, and I totally think you should do it. And I was all like, I don't know. I haven't been running. Got my shoes. Started running. Fell in love. Again, in love. It's kind of like when you're dating somebody and you start to think maybe you're not interested, but then you see them again and you're like, oh, I do love you. That's how I was with running. I was like, oh, I do love you. So, okay. Also, I think I talked to you guys, but I discovered running tights, and it's just, they're the best to run in, and it's ridiculous. So, alright. So my wife pays for the race. She gets me all set up. It's called Race to the Lake, and it's a 10K. When I pick up my number, this is my number. It's a topographical photo of Lake Pontchartrain, right around where we were going to be. So that's so cool. I love the number. It's like my favorite race number, period. The end. Bib. I mean, my race bib. I told my wife, I was like, it's the coolest number ever. And I show it to her, and she looks at it like, she's like, what does 1037 mean? And I was like, what? What are you talking about, 1037? And she's like, because I'm holding it like this, trying to show the picture, and she's like, I don't understand why that's such a cool number. And I was like, oh, I meant race bib. It's the coolest bib. I don't really care about the number. It's a cool number, whatever. So there you go. Anyway, so let me tell you about the race. That morning, I got up. It was the first race I have ever done alone. Like, alone. Just me. So I get up, and my family got up because they went to the finish line and waited for me. I get ready. I have all my stuff together. I'm pretty good at prepping for a race. Generally have my Advil and my safety pins and my, like, anything and everything. So got up, got ready. We leave. We go to, I get dropped off where runners need to be dropped off to get on the bus to go to the start line. And my family goes and has breakfast at IHOP, which is cool. It's like great. Yeah, like perfect, right? So they go have breakfast, and I ride my little bus, and it starts to hit me. This is the first time I've done something like this alone, because I have ran the race itself by myself because my friends and I run at different paces. So that's not unusual. But not having anybody to like distract you from the nervous energy as you're on your way on the bus is pretty kind of weird. So I ride the bus, I get there, and it's a gorgeous day. I was concerned because it was supposed to rain. It was supposed to be freezing. It was perfectly cold, and if you are an outdoor worker-outer, I don't even know. If you've ever exercised outdoors, you understand what I mean by perfectly cold. It's cold when you start, but by the time you even start moving, you're warmed up. In fact, I even broke a sweat. So it was like perfect. The wind was perfect. It never rained. It was just beautifully gray and perfect. And then on top of that, I get out there and it's kind of crazy because there's not a lot of people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be wild. I think that up until this point, the smallest race I ever did was the Dirty Girl 5K. It's 5K, obstacle course 5K. And I don't know if I talked to you guys about that. It's a whole nother, I'll do that one. But this one, I think that was the smallest one I ever did. But this is like a race where people actually line up. That's like waves, where you go in waves, and they keep it small so that there's not too many people on the obstacle courses. But races, up until this point, the smallest one I had done was the Jazz Half Marathon, and that one is like 5,000-6,000 people. This race, they had 900 people registered / pre-registered. So some of those people were like, yeah, we'll come, but then didn't show up because it was supposed to be horrible weather. Altogether, they had 708 people run the race. 708 people. I'm used to crowds like, the Crescent City, 27 to 30,000 people. The Rock and Roll Half was like 25,000 people. The Susan G. Komen 5K, 30,000 people. It's like so weird when you're used to that to line up with 700 people. It was like, this is it? This is what we're going to do? So then the race starts, and because it's not in New Orleans, it's actually in Jefferson Parish, and it goes from a beautiful park called Lafreniere all the way to Lake Pontchartrain. There are no potholes. We had the smoothest cement, the smoothest roads. It was ridiculous. It was gorgeous and ridiculous. It was the best run. Now, originally I was like, oh, maybe I will aim for under an hour. Then once I started running, I was like, hey, yo, check it, Sonia. You haven't ran more than 3 consistent miles in since since the Crescent City. Up until that point, I had ran like, all right, I'll do 2 miles, take a break, run another mile. All right, I'll run, a mile and a half, walk a little while, a mile and a half. All right, I'll run 3 miles. I had just recently done that one. So I had not run 6 miles. And I was like, I need to check myself. Like, seriously, because I'm going to burn out. So I told myself that there's this road called Vintage. And I was like, when I get to Vintage Road, I'll be over halfway. I can take a break then. So I ran to that point. I did wind up walking for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes? No. About 10 seconds. But then I don't like to walk during races because I feel like it kills my momentum. So I was like, you know what? No, gonna run this thing through. And I finished it. And like, what I started to notice was that I was staying around 9.5 minutes a mile, which I knew was going to put me slightly over the 1 hour mark. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that. So I ran it. I finished it in an hour, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 28 seconds. Which I was really happy with. I wound up being the 108th female to finish out of 417, and I was the 271st person overall out of 708 people. So I was like, I'm happy with that. Not that I'm ever trying to win them, just that it's just nice. It's like, okay, that's good. But more importantly, and kind of cool, and I did not know this, was when I did the last race where I was really pushing so hard for my to PR and to get under an hour, I had like some really fast miles and some kind of slow miles, because if you burn out on a 7-minute mile, then your next mile is going to be 13 minutes to recover from it. That's just kind of what happens. Until you're conditioned, This race was the first race I have ever done where every single mile clocked in under 10 minutes. Anywhere between 9 minutes and like 15 seconds to 9 minutes and 50 seconds. But consistently, across the board, every mile was under 10 minutes. I was really stoked. That's awesome. I mean, I think that, and I told my wife almost immediately, I was like, this is going to be my new race to PR at for the next couple of years while it stays kind of small, because there aren't people in your way. It really is just you running on beautiful ground and making it happen. So next year I am going to aim for my race to the lake time to be under an hour. I feel like if I take 15 seconds off my 10K time a month, then I can totally get there. So I take 15 seconds off. That's 3 minutes being taken off between now and the next race. And so you're looking at being like 1.5 minutes under an hour. That's awesome. What more can you ask for? That's awesome. So that's what I'm going to be aiming for. But the cooler thing, okay, so as if that can't get cooler, it totally can. So the cooler thing is that after that race, my wife is like, oh, come here, there's somebody I want you to meet. I'm like, okay. So we walk over to the other side, and there are these pit bulls and pit bull mixes. They're not pit bulls. There's no such thing as a pit bull. But there's like pit bull mixes, like the commonly referred to pit bull. And I am totally in love instantly with this one little girl. She's brown and white, and one half of her face is brown and brindle, and the other side is white. And the white side has this like golden eye, and the brown side had a golden eye, and the white side had like a brown eye. And, my baby is a bi-eyed white bully type dog, so I'm just like, oh my god! And it was the sweetest dog. She just melted. She was so sweet. So because of that, like I'm like, oh, I'm loving her, and my wife realizes that the guy who's holding her leash is the guy who we adopted Paisley from at the shelter, and she starts talking to him about how good she's doing and how like her personality has really come around and how she's like a lot less scared and stuff. And she's like, yeah, the only bad thing is, and she tells him about how she had heartworms when she left the shelter, and how we didn't find out until 2 weeks later when we brought it to the vet, and like she tells him the whole story, and about how like now we have her on the slow kill method because it's like $1,200, and he says, well, that shouldn't happen because she's supposed to be heartworm negative when we adopt her out. And we're like, yeah, well, we tried to call and we didn't really get much help. And he was like, well, I'll help you. So they are going to treat her and give her treatment for the heartworms like they should have a year ago. And well, almost a year ago. And I'm just thrilled. Like, thank God. How awesome is that? What a great birthday present. Like, to have a fabulous race and then to find that out is just awesome. So her GoFundMe page is now going to be taken down. And the money that is in it is going to go, I had originally said, this is what we're aiming for, and anything that's not used will go to Villalobos Rescue. And so we took the money, well, I didn't take that money, that's once it's all taken care of, it's going to go into it, but that money will go, we went and bought blankets for the dogs because it's really cold, and they each get about 5 blankets in their kennels to keep them nice and snug. And we went and visited Villalobos, and the girls got to meet a lot of the dogs, and I got to fall in love again and again and again. And we donated 20 blankets plus a big box of like sheets and stuff to 20 brand new, very plush little fleece blankets to Villalobos Rescue Center, and 10 more blankets are going to get donated to the Assumption Parish. I might have lied to you just now. I don't know if it's Assumption or Ascension. My pastor is gathering blankets for the little parish that her sister lives in. I think it's her sister. To bring and keep those little puppies warm. So 20 of them went to Villalobos. 10 of them are going to go to that parish shelter. So that's exciting. It was really, really, really great. And by the way, real quick, just want to tell you, it's Saturday, November 30th, and Pit Bulls and Parolees comes on Animal Planet tonight. I know that here in Central Standard Time, is it Central Time? I think it is called the Central Standard, and I'm not sure if that's right. But at Central Louisiana, where I'm at, it comes on at 9 o'clock. Wherever you are, look it up, check it out. Put your TV on. If you're not going to watch it, put your TV on it. There are multiple TVs in your house. If you're watching something else in the front room, put the background on, Pit Bulls and Parolees, because for every viewer, Animal Planet donates to Villalobos. And right now, Villalobos is in New Orleans. They moved here a couple of years ago, and they do amazing work with Pit Bulls and bully type dogs. But they're also bringing in all kinds of other dogs because they are being inundated. People dropping off their dogs, people calling them. It is a bad situation here in New Orleans. Like, the dogs are not taken care of, and sadly, it's not even necessarily because people can't afford it. It's just because they don't care. It's a thing, the fighting and the stigma of them, it's just bad. And they are doing so much work, and they have so many animals there, and they are so full, and they are constantly getting more. And so if you can make a difference just by turning on your TV, why not do it? So put your TV on Pit Bulls and Parolees. Also, you might want to watch it. They'll change your whole opinion. Also, if you can donate, they were doing dollar days. Like, if everybody just donates $1, you can make a difference. So just putting that out there. We're now going to move on, though, from that fabulous race and that fabulous story and those fabulous people to something else that's fabulous. Are you ready? I totally joined the gym yesterday. Now, you guys might remember that I used to love my gym membership, and then I hated my gym. My gym, my old gym, merged with another gym in the area, and the dudes that came around were creeps. They were like I was at my gym for a year, and they were all very, very nice. And I had guys be nice to me and, occasionally get a little friendly. But, the dudes that came with the new gym were, skeezers who would be all like, hey, what are you doing after this? Want to go get some drink? Why not? Why not? Why not? Inviting me to get a drink could be, I guess, flattering. Continuing to harass me because I'm not interested is not flattering. And then, I don't know, there's a vibe to it. If you're a friendly dude and we see each other around and you start to talk to me, that's one thing. I mean, I'm obviously not interested, but that's one thing. But if you're just, I don't know, it was skis. And then they had too many people and not enough equipment. It just got bad. So I had kind of gotten turned off, and I was like, I can do it on my own. And I learned that I can't. I mean, I can do it on my own. I do it on my own at the gym, but it's sometimes you just need a place to go and be in your head. And you can't necessarily do that when you're running on the streets. You have to be aware of where you're at and who's around you, and you watch for dogs and for people and for cars and for kids and for bikes, and so sometimes you just need to check out, click, turn it off, and be in your own head. And so I now go to a gym. I have a 6-month membership I'm very excited about, and yeah, I signed up for 6 months because I'm 98% sold on this gym, not 1,000. 98 to 1,000, not 100. So that's where I'm at with that. And part of that gym thing is this. There is a challenge out and about, and it's the run a day from Thanksgiving to New Year's. So I am making the pledge and the challenge to run at least a mile a day. In fact, on my off days, yesterday I went and worked out. I didn't do it on Thanksgiving because I didn't know about it. So yesterday I did 2 miles plus some time on the elliptical. Today I'm going to go, and the thing is that you go, okay, I'm just going to run my mile. And when you start running, and you're like, I can do 2. Why would I cut off at 1? And then 2 miles in, it's why don't I just work out for 30 minutes? I mean, why not, So my plan is to go run a mile, but who knows what will happen. It could turn into half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour gym. That's awesome. But that's where I will be every day for at least 10 minutes at the gym, running a mile. I also plan on continuing to run outside in beautiful weather because it is perfectly cool right now. Yeah. I'm very excited. Are you very excited? Have you started Christmas shopping? I started Christmas shopping. And, yeah. I need to tell you guys a story, but I can't right now. So, oh, I'll put a link to it. There's going to be a link down there to a story, to a Christmas story. Christmas story. Yeah, I won't forget. Okay. Thank you for all the beautiful birthday wishes. If you were some of those people who sent those, a lot of people did. And thanks for being a part of this, and I can't wait to get back into it. I need my phone fixed. OMG. And guess what else? If you're here, my Christmas present came in the mail. So neither are you, clearly. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Isn't it totally gorgeous? I love it. Now I gotta put it away. I gotta figure out how to put it back in that envelope. I love it. Okay. See you later.